I am absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being and is going to pay. I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
The courtroom went still. In an instant, the calm shattered as Diddy's carefully composed image began to crack. His fists clenched, his jaw locked, and a wave of tension swept through the room. Everything changed the moment Justin Bieber's name was mentioned. What you're about to witness is the exact moment Diddy lost control. Day 2 of the trial, right after he found out Justin Bieber had gone public with his support for Cassie. The reaction was immediate. You could feel the energy shift. Security stepped in. What happened next stunned everyone, even the judge.
I think the person that the you of then was on a path of self-destruction.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. So I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want. But I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully, but yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and
Wow! I feel violated right now. Wow.
Lean into me again. You smell amazing. How old are you?
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks.
I don't ever remember smelling that good at 16. Like that was bad.
Yeah.
Wow, look at your eyes. Look at what a beautiful...
Bieber turned 15, and it suddenly seemed that Hollywood was keen to almost initiate him. I think that's the right word. Like there was almost like this initiation that he needed to go through. So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie The Times of Their Lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full.
Young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun. Now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did. The allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher. As we are going through these lawsuits and Diddy is in prison, we are recognizing that everybody knew. This was an open secret about what Diddy was doing. So it just begs the question, who allowed Justin Bieber to be in the presence of this man, knowing what he was up to, allegedly up to? That seems to be very clear.
Day 2 of the trial began with an eerie calm. Diddy entered flanked by his high-powered legal team, trying to project confidence. But if you looked closely, really looked, something in his eyes was off. He kept scanning the room like he was expecting something, or someone, to appear. Security was different that morning, too. 2 additional guards stood near his table, one directly behind his chair, another posted by the aisle. It wasn't typical for a celebrity trial. It felt like someone had gotten a warning that today wouldn't go as planned. Then Cassie walked in, and every head turned. She wore a simple black dress with a white collar, understated but powerful. Her friends surrounded her protectively, guiding her to her seat like a human shield. The contrast was striking. Diddy had paid protection. Cassie had people who were loyal by choice. But what stood out most? Diddy couldn't stop checking his phone. He kept pulling it out, scrolling with his thumb, and with every glance, his expression grew darker. At one point, His attorney had to physically take the phone from him. That's when it became clear Diddy's hand was shaking. Across the aisle, the prosecution seemed unusually energized. They kept passing notes, whispering behind folders. One prosecutor showed something on a tablet to another. They nodded, like a puzzle had finally clicked into place. Diddy's lead attorney tried to calm him, leaning in to whisper, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. But Diddy wasn't having it. He shrugged him off hard, once so forcefully the lawyer had to brace himself on the table. Then the judge walked in. On day one, she was all business, cool, and composed. But today, her face told a different story. She looked like a school principal who just found out trouble was brewing fast. Her eyes went straight to Diddy's table. She leaned toward the clerk, whispered something quietly, and he nodded, then picked up his phone. What no one in the room realized yet was that Diddy had seen something online, just minutes before court began, something that would completely unhinge him. His team had tried to shield him from it, but they were too late. He had already seen Justin Bieber's post. When the bailiff called the courtroom to order, the air grew thick with tension. Even the jurors noticed it, glancing at each other, clearly puzzled by the energy shift. One juror asked for a glass of water, her hands visibly shaking. Diddy sat motionless, his leg bouncing under the table. A vein in his forehead pulsed. His attorney kept sliding documents in front of him, hoping to redirect his focus. But Diddy wouldn't look away from whatever was running through his mind. His breathing grew heavier. His posture stiffened. It felt like watching someone try to contain an explosion. The pressure was building, and everyone in that room could feel it. No one knew what exactly would trigger him, only that something would. The clock on the wall ticked louder than it should have. Everyone waited for the moment when it would all unravel. Diddy's polished image was about to fall apart, right in front of the entire courtroom.
Yeah. So, yeah. I just want to protect her, you know? I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, you know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, just think about how young I was and so impressionable. And you have everybody telling me how awesome I am at all times, you know? And like,
It's like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets.
Right.
And just saying, I'll be back in 2 days.
Exactly. I just want people to understand, like, the psychology behind why I potentially could have problems in my life. So.
Meantime, let's talk about the fact that Combs' co-defendant in a civil case, a case, by the way, that accuses him and this co-defendant, another A-lister, of rape. This guy is once again slamming the attorney behind the case, insisting that he be sanctioned for allegedly not doing his job. We're talking, of course, about Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, once again calling out attorney Tony Busby, calling out his character, more specifically into question, claiming that the Texas attorney's filings have, quote, substantial. Now, we've talked about this before, but basically, a civil lawsuit was filed against Sean Combs on behalf of a Jane Doe who says that she was raped by Combs and another celebrity at a home after the Video Music Awards in 2000.
All eyes were locked on the courtroom. Something massive unfolded online. Out of nowhere, Justin Bieber dropped a social media bomb. One that would ripple through the music industry and shake the trial from the outside in. Mid-proceedings, Bieber publicly declared his support for Cassie. The post wasn't vague. It wasn't sanitized. It was personal, detailed, and direct. And it landed like a betrayal. Because let's not forget, Bieber and Diddy go way back. There are videos of teenage Justin at Diddy's events. Diddy once called himself Justin's mentor, even his big brother. He proudly claimed a hand in shaping Bieber's early career. So when Bieber broke his silence, it hit with force. This wasn't just sending love. Bieber spoke up about what he says he witnessed. He described industry parties where he observed Diddy's controlling behavior toward Cassie. Moments when Diddy allegedly grabbed her arm too hard, times he interrupted her mid-sentence during interviews, moments that didn't sit right, but only now made sense in hindsight. These weren't tabloid rumors. They were first-hand accounts. By the first recess, the post had already gone viral. In the courthouse halls, people huddled in tight circles, eyes locked on phone screens. A court officer had to remind everyone to turn off their devices. Legal assistants printed the screenshots. Attorneys reviewed them with urgency. Even jurors seemed rattled, clearly picking up on the hallway buzz. The post included a striking old photo of Bieber and Cassie at a past music event. They were smiling for the cameras, but if you looked at Cassie's eyes, there was something deeper, something unspoken. Bieber's caption read, "I've always respected Cassie's strength. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. The timing couldn't have been worse for Diddy." Within minutes, over 270 million followers saw that post. News outlets pounced. This wasn't gossip anymore. It was a global pop icon taking a clear public stance during an active trial. Inside the courtroom, reporters scrambled. One ran to call her editor. Another was typing furiously. A veteran journalist mouthed across the aisle, "Did you see it?" The entire mood shifted. Whispers swelled into murmurs. A bailiff had to ask the gallery to quiet down. Some glanced at Diddy, trying to read his expression. Others turned to Cassie. Still, she sat steady, composed, unmoved by the storm swirling around her. What made Bieber's post so powerful wasn't just who he was. It was the language he used. Certain behaviors I saw years ago deeply troubled me. I just didn't understand the pattern back then. I'm disappointed in myself for not recognizing the control dynamics that now seem so clear. Diddy's attorney saw the post first. He went into damage control, leaning across the table, shielding screens, whispering orders to remove phones. But it was too late. Someone had already shown Diddy the post. His eyes locked onto the screen. They widened. His entire face changed. And in that instant, those close enough saw something they'd never forget. The moment the outside world finally cracked through the courtroom walls, and everything changed.
18 years old, and I should mention he was signed by Usher to a label that was owned jointly by both Scooter Braun and Usher, and he was considered Usher's protege. He has been described Usher as his mentor. The Bieber, Justin Bieber, is continuing the purge. He has now moved to, his original mentor. So this is a very big story, and the reason why we should discuss this and we should not diminish what is happening, it's not celebrity drama. This is actually the fall of Babylon that we are witnessing, Hollywood Babylon, that is. He did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music. And he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish. And he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry. And sort of out of nowhere, he became quite overcome with emotion. Take a listen.
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing. And if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted.
I'm not even kidding. Watching that clip makes me emotional because he is saying so much without really saying anything. Protect Billie Eilish from what? From who?
When Diddy saw Bieber's post, his face changed instantly, like someone flipped a switch. First came the shock, wide eyes, jaw slightly open. Then his brows furrowed as the weight of the betrayal hit. But what came next was something else entirely: anger. Real, visible, uncontrollable. His nostrils flared, his jaw clenched so tightly it looked painful. A woman sitting 3 rows back later told reporters. His hands were shaking. He tried to hold some papers but couldn't. They just slipped through his fingers. That's when the room noticed. People stopped pretending not to watch him. Then Diddy stood up suddenly. It wasn't to stretch or adjust. It was sharp, abrupt. The bailiff closest to him immediately stepped forward. You could tell this wasn't their first time dealing with someone about to lose control. Then Diddy said it, not under his breath, but loud enough for the front rows to hear. After everything I did for that kid, loyalty means nothing now. He muttered something else about consequences. And that's when his lawyer physically grabbed his arm and pulled him back down into the seat. His breathing got louder, heavier. One court sketch artist captured it best. "I've been drawing courtrooms for 12 years. I've never seen someone look that intense." The prosecutors noticed. The lead attorney made a subtle hand gesture to her assistant, who quietly left the room to alert their team. A specific witness needed to be moved up.
And weeks after the initial filing, Busby submitted an amended complaint naming Jay-Z as the celebrity who allegedly participated. They wanted copies of these videos for themselves. And I've talked to lawyers about this before. There's a big advantage to having the electronic video, the electronic evidence yourself, right? You don't have to always go over to the other office. You can view the materials on your own. It's a way to better prepare for your defense. And Sean Combs' lawyers argue that under the federal rules of criminal procedure, electronic data that is in the government's possession. Judge Subramanian denied the defense's motion to amend the protective order, but without prejudice, meaning this issue could be revisited. So Subramanian's order reads, quote, "While the government objects to handing the videos over, they provide several options for a defendant to consider that would permit the defense to view the videos, access the information they're looking for, and even allow them to manipulate the video."
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters, and I just want to protect her, I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Do you realize how important your story is? Every time I have a conversation with someone who's been through this unique type of experience, I'm searching for some kind of truth that can help.
I commend you for going there and asking the tough questions and the things that people don't want to talk about, and they don't want to go there because it's revealing, and I want people to take a look at my story, and hopefully my words can make a difference.
Just when everyone thought the courtroom couldn't get more intense, the prosecution dropped a bomb. The lead prosecutor stepped to the center of the room, a tablet in one hand, a slim folder in the other. "Your Honor, we'd like to present evidence that directly contradicts Mr. Combs' claim that Ms. Ventura fabricated these allegations." She connected the tablet to the courtroom display system. The monitors lit up. Text messages between Justin Bieber and Cassie from 2017. The prosecutor zoomed in. One message from Cassie read, "I don't know what to do anymore. He monitors everything." Then Bieber replied, "This isn't normal, Cass. What he's doing isn't okay. You need to talk to someone who can help." Cassie had also written, "If I talk to anyone, he'll make sure I never work again." The effect was immediate. Diddy exploded. He shot out of his chair, the sound of it dragging across the floor silencing the room. Bright red face, bulging eyes, rage. His lawyer reached out and whispered, "Scene, don't do this." But Diddy shoved his hand away, so hard the man stumbled backward. "This is all lies." Diddy shouted, finger pointed at Cassie. "You know damn well that's not what happened. Where's your loyalty? After everything I did for you," each word louder than the last. "You are making this up. Both of you." The judge banged her gavel. Once, twice, 3 times. "Mr. Combs, say damn one immediately, or I will have you removed." But he kept going. 2 security officers moved fast. One placed himself between Diddy and Cassie,